is going to show you how to set up floor 7. So if you recall, floor 7 is your fan casting floor. What you're going to need to do initially, obviously, is to find your images of your actors that are going to be included in your floor. As a reminder, when you Google search your images, in this floor, you don't need to reference or cite your sources for where you got the pictures of the actors. You don't have to do that. When you find an image, though, there's three ways that you could actually get it onto your computer. You can 2-finger click and do save image as, and then just save it with a description, right? You could screenshot, which is Command-Shift-4, and go ahead and screenshot it. Or, and this is probably rare, but if you visit a site, there may be a place where you can download a specific image. Either way, what I would also recommend to do is, just to be on the safe side, is I would recommend that you open up your Google Drive, drive.google.com, and just save your screenshots there, just in case something happens. Maybe you want to make a new folder for your your Long Way Down project. And so in your Long Way Down project, you just save all these images. It's just as a backup for, not having any issues with losing your files or using another computer and needing those files back. I would just strongly recommend it for that. In fact, I would probably also do that for your background images as well. Anyways, let's get back to using these. Once you have these files saved, well, what you're going to do is the same thing as what you did for floor 1. You're going to just add all these files. So you're going to upload your files. And let's see if I go to my desktop. I think that's where I have mine. So find out where your files are located. Okay, there they are. And I'm just going to upload all 4. Okay. And the other thing that I said is to rename them. So if you click on a file, it'll show you the person's name. Okay, so let's see, what was everyone's names here? Caleb, Angela, Lupita, and Winston. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and rename this to Caleb.png. Okay, I'm going to rename this to Angela. Rename this to Winston, and rename this to Lupita. All right, now that I've got that, I'm going to go into my index.html. There's 2 things that I need to do. Well, in my index.html, when I go to my code, actually what I can do right here, so what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to include my images right here. So my image for this first one is going to be caleb.png. So I'm putting this directly into my floor 7. So caleb.png. I'm going to just refresh it, make sure that that's working. There we go. That's there. And again, in my full view, if I click on New Tab, I can see that he's listed there. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the other one. So this one is going to be Angela.png. And remember, you got to make sure that you match the spelling, the capitalization. This one's going to be Lupita.png. And this last one's going to be Winston.png. If you leave out that file extension, they're not going to show up. So now that's changed. And let me just refresh it here. There we go. Perfect. And so now all you need to do is put in your explanations inside the description. Okay. So you're going to change your explanations right over here. And now yours should work. Now here's a couple things that you can do to, again, make yours a little bit more unique. First of all, when you look at DevTools and you look at, again, elements, and you click on this section, you might have an issue where your text is just way too big, or you have too much and you don't have enough space. Now, what you'll notice though is that there's like some spacing in between. So I'm going to find div.description. So when I go to my style.css, here's my fonts, my intro section. Okay, all of this stuff controls these images. Okay, so there's quite a few things that are controlling here. First of all, you've got this gallery that's happening here. Okay, so there's a gallery that's happening here. I've got this hover effect that when I hover over it, let me turn this off. When I hover over these, do you notice how like that gets darker? That's another thing that's happening there. So that's this. My image is literally here. So I've got a height of an image listed there. My div.description. So this is where that padding comes in. So it looks like around this, there's a 1 pixel solid black border. So if you wanted to change the border, again, matching maybe a previous color palette, you could change that. Let's see, where's my, okay, so maybe I want to just like change the color to this one right here. So my border, instead of being black, can be changed to, you know, my color palette. So the color palette that I chose, it didn't save, F4A261. So that's one place that you can change things, F4, 26A1. No, that doesn't look like it. F4A261, F4A261. There we go. All right, so now when I refresh that, let me go ahead and close those dev tools and I refresh it. I've got now my borders changed right here. Now the other thing that you could change is that not having this padding. And so padding, let me show you what this is, box model. Padding actually refers to the fact that every element, here's your content, you could add padding around each thing. And then here's the border that we included, right? So padding is just the space in between your content and that border. So I could change the border on this, or sorry, the padding on this to, you know, like less padding. So like if I make it just 1 pixel padding, maybe that'll give me a little bit more space. Okay, so there's a little bit of padding removed there. The other thing that I could do is I could change, if you noticed again, the font default size is 15 pixels, but I can go ahead and right here, I can actually manually change just this part by just saying font size, and maybe it needs to be like 10 px. All right, so now when I refresh that, now you can see that that's smaller, so I can include a lot more stuff there. Now, you can change quite a few things here. Again, if you wanted to change that hover effect so that that hover is not a dark gray, you can change that color right here. If you wanted to change, so for example, the gallery itself, this padding is around the whole gallery. So watch what happens. Like if I change this right here to 20, watch what happens there. So like this becomes narrower. So there's quite a few things you can do. And I dev tools, and you use your inspector right here to find out what do you want to change and what does it need, where do you need to adjust things. Maybe you wanted to change the image size. So obviously you would work with this area right here. Maybe you wanted to change the width of the overall gallery. Well, you would play around with kind of the width of things here. Again, that padding refers to the space in between. So right now I've got padding set up in a certain way, so I can refer back to this box model and see how I need to adjust things. There's just so many things. I would just be careful not to spend way too much time there. There's ways to add color to the background of these galleries so that there's some like background color. But again, use your inspector tool These are some things to change. This H3 will change this fan casting look right here. And then as far as the floor 7, this is just going to help you as far as the actual parallax look. So if I change the height of this, that changes the panel size. So if I change that to 7 or 700, you'll notice that my panel just got bigger, right? So this is kind of affecting that parallax look. Again, many different things you could potentially change here. Focus on the core aspects and then come back at the end of your project when you think you want to tweak things.